Did you ask Tyson or no?
Now punishes the blast. Oh, that hit Provo. Diving save. Hart as he flashes across. Briere sets up Carl. Side of the net. Deflected. Score! Briere moving in. Stops. Cuts to the middle. Still has it. Shot! Score! Here's Hughes giving it across. Oh, save! Save by Maher! Two on one. Got it to it. He's an angle. Short-handed mid. He scores! Up top, cruising is Provorov. He scores! Ivan Provorov!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fired Up Podcast. I am your host, Amedeo Grassia, along with my partner, Chris Maher. Tyson will join us for a different episode in the future. We are always live streaming on the Painted Lines, TB Sports, and Flyers Fan Mania 93. And for people who don't tune into the live stream, it's always going to be on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. So, I'm going to put it bluntly here. Very, very bluntly. What the fuck was last night? What the flying fuck was last night, man? I'm sorry for being vulgar, but you just got to let it out at this point. What the hell?
I didn't expect that. Wow. Yeah, that was that game was
It was something.
That's frustrating. That game was not great. Listen, the first period, every game this season has been abysmal. I don't know what it is. Like, you can't start a game on time. There's no, it seems like everybody just kind of is so lackadaisical. Like, nobody really knows what they're doing. Like, every pass is either 2 feet behind or ahead. No one's in position for a pass. If it's a forward, the defenseman can't move it out quick. It's like, oh my God. It's turnover city in their own zone. And it seems like every first TV time out of every game, which is around the 13:40 mark, I feel like, is what I always notice, they start to play better. I don't know what it is, but they just start to play better. They wake up. And they kind of get into that groove of getting some offensive pressure. They kind of did that late in the first last night. They had a good second period. They got the tying goal. The shots were pretty even. That was an even hockey game. First period was bad. But again, the second period was good. And then the last 8:30 of the third period, it was like they just forgot how to play hockey. You took 3 penalties that cost you the game. You give up 3 power play goals. And you, again, for the second time this season against Boston, you blow a lead. You got 3 straight games where you've blown leads. You had a 2-0 lead against the Islanders. You blew that and win in overtime. 3-1 lead going into the third against the Islanders. You blow that. You still win in overtime. And now another 3-1 lead in the third period that you got 2 goals in the third. And you still blew that lead and gave up the tying goal with 15 seconds left?
At least.
Yeah, so that's 3 straight games with blown leads. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a game where I feel bad for Hart because he was fantastic after the goal 12 seconds in. He was dialed in. And he's looked very good since that 6-1 blowout against the Bruins. Yeah. And that was a game that I wanted them to win for him, and it sucks because you had a couple – I mean, I know you said it before. They had a couple chances to score on the empty net there, and then they some of the penalties are just so stupid. Why is Wakeup doing that? It's just dumb. The Hayes one, as we talked about before, is that's not a penalty I think should be called with 2 minutes and a second left in the third period in a 1-goal game. If you're going to let them play like you essentially did all night, that's not a penalty you call. But nevertheless, Hayes did hook him. That is a penalty. But I don't know if I would call that. So I understand why that was called, but I don't agree with it because, it's just bad timing. And then the Lawton one, I don't even understand what what he was doing there. That just didn't make any sense.
The Lawton one pissed me off the most.
Yeah, it looked like after when I saw it again, it looked like Lawton didn't see the puck, and then I guess he maybe thought Corrali had it or what, but he was just like, oh, let me just hit him. That's clearly interference, dude. Stevie Wonder could have saw that. Like I don't like. Oh my god, it's just aggravating, man.
And just like looking through last night's game, it was like exactly like right after they lost, because I knew there was positives to take out of this game. There definitely was, but it was just like that loss was so heartbreaking. That loss was so gut wrenching to where
It's
I
demoralizing.
can't take any positives out of this because of how bad you lost that game.
I can, and I'll say this: like I don't think anybody actually had like a bad game. To be honest, I don't think any player had a bad game. I think their game consistently in recent games has gotten better. Like they have been able to, consistently play through periods. It's just the first period. The first period is bad. I'll say that. But like it's gotten better. I think you've noticed that the special teams was bad last night. It's got to be better. But again, there's no reason to put your team in a situation where you have to continuously kill penalties against a scorching hot power play that comes into the game 30%, and it isn't even. I don't even think it was top 3 in the league at 30%. 30%. I think there were 9 for 30 going into last night's game on the power play. Like, I mean, Pasternak was insane. I saw a stat. He has 38 shot attempts in 3 games played. 38 in 3 games. He's got 5 goals already.
Yep. He had 2 goals. He had 2 goals the last game against the Capitals, and he had the hat trick tonight. And he completely undressed Ghost on the very first goal of the game. I was just like, okay, it's gonna be one of those nights for Pasta.
Yeah, you could tell he was on it from the start. I mean, once he had all that room, I'm like, oh god. And then he makes the move. I'm like, and then it's in. I'm like, oh, that's great.
I'm just like, he does the fancy move. He does all of that, but then you get so lucky it goes off Provorov's stick. I think that's what made me so mad. It's like you did all of that and you bounced it off of someo's stick. I'm like,
it looked like he tried to send a pass over and it went off.
It did look like it. It did look like it.
Yeah. That loss sucks, dude. It's aggravating because it was right there in their hands, and that's the second time this season, again against the same team, where really you should be 2-1 against Boston, and you're now 0-1-2.
Yes. I mean, it's like I know you got the point in this game, you really did, but it's like I don't feel good having it. I don't feel good having this point just because of how bad the game was blown.
I feel like I like them. I mean, they got a point out of it, yes, but they should have had 2.
They should have had 2.
There's no reason to lose that game.
No reason in hell.
It's like it is so like how do I describe this? It's like when Bergeron scored that, I wasn't even like. I was just like, oh my god, like I was still annoyed. Like waking up this morning, I was like, how did they lose that game last night?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it feels. It's like I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm fine with them losing games, but they haven't lost a game where I felt good about them losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fine to lose, and I shouldn't say that because like obviously I don't feel good when they lose, but like I'm trying to explain this the best way possible. But in the 4 games they've lost. It's 2 blown leads in 4 games where you didn't show up at all.
Yeah,
it's a bad way to lose. They've realistically, this team should be 9-2. They should not be 7-2-2.
Because when like a good loss is when you're battling the entire game. It's close for an entire 60 minutes. It's back and forth. Okay, maybe you fall in a couple of final minutes, but you had a good game. You didn't make glaring mistakes, and you didn't take 3 glaring penalties to where you lost the game for yourself. Like, literally, who does Scott Lawton think he is for literally just ramming someone on the boards? Like, I don't, like, that's still pissing me off. I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that's the most aggravating is it's nothing about the team. It's nothing about any individual. It's nothing personal or talent-wise. Like, we all know this team is good. We all know they have the talent to win, and we all know they have the talent to compete, in the whole season. But, like, they shoot themselves in the foot, like, many times. And I'm not talking, like, just the third period. I mean the first. I mean every game, essentially. Like, they've had many games where they have had turnovers, no forward ready for a pass. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say it. No forwards ready for a pass, Every pass is either 2 steps behind. Was I the only one who noticed last night that it didn't look like Konechny could make a single pass? Like, was I the only one who noticed that,
No, I
or
think
what?
everyone else noticed it.
Like, I don't know what it is, but they're killed with the matchups, and obviously not having Couturier doesn't help because that's one of the reasons why that line was so dominant. That Pastrnak line. Listen, this team, once they get Couturier back, it's going to feel a lot stabilized on defense, and I think once they do, there's going to be a certain level of play that they're going to be, and they're not really going to go under that. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to start to play better consistently in the first period, but like their starts are terrible, and I feel like every year they always have a bad first period. Every single year, they just cannot start a game on time. They just can't, and if they do, they end up finding a way to blow it late. You know, it's just like it shouldn't take you. Like, they got their first shot on net at 10-10 of the first period last night, and it was a oh my god, it was a whiff of a backhand from Bunneman. Your fourth line. Like, at least each line's got to have 2 or 3 shifts by that 10-minute mark. Your fourth line. Oh my god.
What also frustrates me too is, like, when you were talking about the first period, like, it felt like no one knew how to make a pass.
No.
It felt like no one knew how to accept the pass. And what frustrates me when the Flyers score the first goal is, where was that in the first period? It's you can make, like, how good that passing play was to set up that Hayes goal. Why can't you do that consistently? Like, what takes you so long to figure out how to make a pass, to figure out how to make a good pass? Because that play by Hayes was excellent.
And in the second period, it was fine. Like, even at the start of the period, that goal was with 4 minutes left. Even at the start of the period, the passing was fine. It just shouldn't take you a full 20 minutes to actually generate some offense. And surprisingly, they ended the period tied in shots, 8-8. I'm like,
that's still surprising to me. I'm like, what?
I know, because I think a lot of them were just like, you know, off the rush, kind of easy saves for Rask. Like, I know JVR set up Ghost for a one-timer. That might have been their best chance. I know Lindblom. Was that in the second? Or no, it might have been the third. Lindblom had a nice chance in front of the net.
I think it was in the third period.
Yeah,
he had that chance.
Like, I don't know, man. It's aggravating because we know that they can play better. And again, it's little things. Like, it's like, oh my god.
It's mental mistakes.
I've never seen a team like take so long to move the puck. Like, when the forward gets it, there's either 1 or 2 Bruins on them like that. And then when everything collapses, they're reaching, they're swinging at it. They just get it over the blue line. Wait. And I love this. They get it to the red line. They dump it. Oh, we're just going to go change.
Yeah.
Let's just change. Oh, that's great. Yeah. No wonder why it takes you so long to get into a game. Every time you get the puck, you got to dump it in, and then you're changing because you've been stuck in your own zone for 30 seconds to a minute, and you're gassed. Like, it's so aggravating because they have so much talent on this team, and when you start to play like that, it's the reason why they give up so many shots. It's the reason why they give up a lot of goals as much as they score, which is so weird because I think it shows how talented they are, that they still don't get as many shots, but they score goals. You know what I mean? Like, I think their goal differential, I think, is +2 right now.
Yeah, it's still positive, but it's just it's weird that it's still positive though.
I know, because they give up so many shots.
Yeah,
but the goaltenders have kept them in every game.
Yes,
like,
they have.
In the 3 games Moose has played, he's kept them in the game early, where the shots were like, in each game, the shots were 6-0, 6-1, and 7-1 in that order of the 3 games Elliott played, where it was Buffalo, New Jersey, and the Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
Hart is pretty much the same thing. If not, Hart is either gives up a goal early because of bad defense or just a nice play like we saw last night, I should add to that he comes back and he's fine, where he made some unbelievable saves last night. And you know what's a great turning point in that second period? That Sean Corrali breakaway, shorthanded.
Yes.
If he scores that, that's 2-0. Like, who knows what? Like, that game would have been a lot worse. You know what I mean?
It definitely would have.
I think all the momentum is like that power play was terrible that they had. That's a thing where like you could have got a little bit more momentum. They kind of did. That broken stick by McAvoy obviously helped because they obviously had the odd man situation on that too and scored. But like, it just seems like a lot of time. It doesn't seem like they pass up as many shots anymore though. It seems like they're starting to pick up the offense. But like defensively, it takes them a while to get into a game. But I think this is kind of the same issues they kind of had last year though. You know what I mean? Like it seems like a lot of last year. They took them a while to get into the first period. Like we didn't like. I'm gonna be honest with you. Did we really know what kind of team this was last year until that 9-game winning streak? No, we didn't. And obviously we didn't because why? Well, they lost in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna know the way a team looks until like they actually are like a full season's played. It's so early to be so negative on them, and it's so early to be so positive because it's just not there yet. So I don't really know what to say.
This team is making it really easy to be frustrated, though. They're like, it's still weird saying like they're 7-2-2, but it's like this is the most frustrating 7-2-2 team I've seen. They're so frustrating.
They play like they're 500 at times.
They play like they're below 500
at times. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like they're a peewee team that just got on the ice for the first time. They don't.
I think the Knights on ice was better than that first period, dude.
Probably.
You could have tortured people on death row watching that first period. I'm serious.
Like, I know you quoted a commenter from last podcast.
yeah, from Sean. Yeah. It's so aggravating, man. And I said that last night, and then I kind of sat there and chuckled for about like 10 minutes, thinking to myself that was funny. But like, it's it's so annoying because it's like, man, we know this team is better, and like I am so tired of these people on Twitter where like if they're one game, it's like, oh, they just trade this guy. Like, there's a tweet I saw today that says like trade like Konechny, Farabee, or Lindblom for like a young defenseman. I'm like, just stop there, please stop. Like, what would that have anything to do with this team? It's just someone frustrated about the loss and saying they should trade somebody. That's all it is.
Yeah, I know. Like the main gripe now with a lot of people is like the common thing that I see is like they think the team is really just not physical at all, and that's not the makeup of the team. Like, yeah, you have some guys that are physical. You have Walton can be physical.
What in physical though? Like physical, like fighting or hit physical, or like puck battle physical.
That's the thing. I think
because
they're trying to
thing,
like hit physical. I think.
Obi Kubel had 5 hits last night.
Because a lot of people that they bring up in terms of physicality, they always say Sanheim is way too soft. He gets hit off the puck way too much. They say Myers is soft. He gets hit off the puck way too much.
I wouldn't agree with Myers. Myers uses his body. Sanheim, though, I agree. He's got to use his body more. What is Sanheim? 6'3", 6'4"?
That's the thing. He like a lot of these guys are like so big, but the way Sanheim's game has developed, even in the junior years, he never had to be a physical defenseman. He was always just like this two-way guy. He was skilled offensively. He wasn't really. It's like physicality. You have to, I guess, develop that into your game from the very beginning, and it's hard to bring that into your game when you've played for so long. I think if you know what I'm talking about.
It's hard. It's like repetition. It's hard to do things when you consistently. You know what I mean? It's hard to change it.
Yeah, I do for the defensive side. Yeah, Haig is a very physical guy, but Haig has not been good this season.
No, I don't.
I feel like they do like maybe need that. Like we were talking about this before the podcast. Maybe you go out and get a veteran depth guy that can also add some physicality on the blue line.
That's probably the only move they'd make.
Yeah,
like they're not getting anybody else.
No, I don't see that at all. If anyone
thinks they are, then I don't really know what to tell you because they're not going to get it. They don't need help on offense. They don't need help on any top pairing of defense. The top 4 they don't need help with. What they need help with is a bottom pairing veteran defenseman that can move the puck out of their zone. Braun and Hag don't move the puck out of their zone. They whip it around the fucking boards, and that's it. That's all they do. Like, and it's so aggravating because there are so many other times where guys like Ghost or Sanheim or Myers or even Provorov make the right play and they just don't like do it. You know what I mean? Like, because they just can't, like, offensively, they are 2 total liabilities offensively. Like, Braun doesn't have the offensive skill to even shoot, I don't think.
No.
Hag last year looked like he could hit the net every time. This year,
You can't.
He sends headhunters and missiles over the glass.
And it led to a goal for the Islanders.
Yeah. It's like, I don't understand why it takes this team that long to get into a game when the other team is on you from the hop. Like, is there any explanation for that? Like, I don't understand it.
Terrible habits. Terrible habits, I think.
Yeah.
It's funny too, talking about Justin Braun. The more I see him play every single game, the more I get tired of him. And one of the moments last night was, I think it was one of the chances for Boston in the offensive zone, and Hart didn't make the save on it, but Braun just fell flat on his ass, and it was just like, yeah, that's Justin Braun's summary for you right there.
I remember that. It was the McAvoy backhander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just standing still, parked in front of the net, and then the guy behind him, the shot came, and he's just like, "Oh, where's the shot at?" And he fell on his ass.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is so aggravating to where, oh my god, it makes me sit there and grind my teeth. I'm like, are you serious right now?
It makes me sit there saying, I'd rather have Nate Prosser in the lineup.
Listen,
it's funny too because Prosser had a good game. I don't know why they didn't give him another chance.
That's how I kind of feel about Friedman too. Friedman played a game and a half because he got injured.
I think so.
And he had a couple duds of a penalty, drew a penalty, and that was really it. And he kind of got exposed a little bit. And it was just I don't know, man. I think this year it's they I guess they kind of are implying they don't have margin for error. And if you're not going to take this long into a season, we already have 44 games left.
I think so.
No, 45 games left.
It's somewhere around the mid-40s.
Yeah, they've played 11. They got 45 games left. It's they need to consistently play better as a group from the start. I don't really know what else to say. Wake up. I would like to actually enjoy the game when the puck drops.
It's funny because you mentioned that. First, I think during our conversation, my Alexa clock just randomly picked up our voices or something like that. So it was just I didn't catch that, but what are you talking about? My clock just randomly talked to me in the background. It threw off my concentration, but still, just talking about the no room for error. Definitely, you're a very shortened season. There's no room for error. I can understand why Alain Vigneault is so strict and especially more forefront with the accountability right now, because like you said, every game matters, every single point matters, and you can't be giving points away.
Yeah. So, especially, again, they should be 9-2. They should not be 7-2. That's 2 games against Boston where you blow leads like that late, and it's aggravating, man. It really is.
Yeah, what Flyers 28 says right here in the live chat, this team needs to wake up. I'm done with the blowing the leads. Yeah. I think, and also I think I was talking about this during the watch party too. One of the commenters in the live chat was saying maybe the Flyers needed to lose this game in order for them to wake up. Maybe that's also a thing.
Didn't we say that after the 6-1 game and the other 6-1 game?
I'm not sure.
And the other 5-4 shootout loss?
I don't think we say they needed to lose that game. I think this is the game they needed to lose because you're on a 4-game winning streak coming into this. You had two games in a row where you blew 2 goal leads. Yeah, you won those in overtime. This time you played a much better team in the Boston Bruins because the Devils suck. The Islanders, they're not as good as last year. I still think that team is missing something, but Boston is just on another level. And they exposed you for those mistakes, those penalties. And I feel like a team like the Islanders or the Devils, they wouldn't take advantage of that. A team like
the
Boston
Islanders would. The Islanders did. They took advantage of it twice to the Flyers' mistakes and erased the leads they had.
Because that's the thing. The Flyers got away with it because they won in overtime.
Yeah.
This game, they didn't get away with it.
No. And listen, I wouldn't say that they had to lose because they were winning. They scored the third period and added another insurance goal. There was no reason to take the penalties is the issue. And
no, definitely not.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they would have had to lose because, again, you're only playing teams in your division, and that's all you can work. It's all you can handle. You can only handle the team in front of you. You can't worry about if this team is bad or what. Like I look at it like Tampa, for example, like playing Detroit, right? They can only handle the Red Wings when they play the Red Wings, When does Coots come back? It was 7 to 10 days the other day, right?
Yeah, I think
With
that's what
Fletcher?
Fletcher said he was hopeful for.
Yeah.
I still think they're not going to fully rush him back. I feel like they're going to give him as much time as he needs. Because I think that's still since that's still like the positive thing that they're 7-2-2 is they don't need to rush Coots back. But it's still a glaring issue that Coots is missing. But say if the team was more around the 500 mark, I'd say they would probably try to rush Coots back, which I think this is a better thing to give him as much time as he needs. I'd rather have him back at 100% rather than 75, 80
game against Washington.
I think he's going to be back before the outdoor game. I think that he's going to be back around that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Tales of a Failed Life saying, I'm still angry. I hate Boston.
I hate Boston too. Dude, Rask is 17-2-4 against the Flyers.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't seem like that, but when you think about it, all the recent wins against the Bruins are like Halak in net.
Halak was in the net. Yeah.
The home game with the shootout.
Yeah.
That
Halak was in the net. The shootout in Boston, Halak was in the net.
The Farabee winner.
The shutout at home, Boston won. That was Rask in the net.
The 18-19 season when Coots had the hat trick, Halak was in there.
That was Halak. Wait, was the round robin game, was that Rask or was that Halak?
That was Halak too. Remember Rask left?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So recent years when they've beat Boston, yes, thank you. Self-inflicted wounds. It's the one of the
from Stacey's dad. Yes.
Stacey's dad with the good input. The self-inflicted wounds. It's the most aggravating thing. I've been saying it all season. All season. That's why I keep saying there's no reason to be worried. Because everything they do, they shoot themselves in the foot. Like, oh God.
Then we got Alex Smith saying they need to pick up defensemen, but this team is still slow. Happy they played a good second period, but don't think they are good enough just yet. Record is not what it should be. It's like what we're talking about, like maybe getting just a depth veteran blue liner that can, like you said, Chris, that can move the puck, provide a physical presence, and can help mentor these guys better than what Braun is doing.
You know who's one guy I would have loved that just cleared waivers? Coburn. I would have loved Coburn back here.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I know.
He's another veteran defenseman that's, I shouldn't say played the system with the team before. Obviously, you got to play a different system with AV's system. But the thing is I don't think they want to sign anybody because one, they're tight with cap. Two, I think they would rather use guys that they have. Like if they saw Prosser, they would probably want to use Prosser again. And I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine. He's a 39-year-old veteran that's played in the NHL before, and I believe, was he assistant captain with the Wild?
He might have been.
I don't know.
I think Prosser's 34, and he's not. I don't think he's 39.
Prosser's 39.
No, he's not. He's 34.
Nate Prosser, he's 39 years old.
He is 34 years old.
Nate Prosser.
Yes. I might be wrong on this, but I remember seeing he's 34 years old.
34. Oh, he wears number 39. That's what that is. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's what it was. Listen, hear me out. Somebody on Twitter, when he was playing, said that he wore number 34 and he was 39.
Oh.
That's why I got confused. That is my bad.
That's all good right there. Just
I didn't know Prosser was 39.
We need something to laugh about now, but like going back to the Coburn thought, like I did see some people that say like, oh, it would be nice to bring Coburn back because it's another like I agree, it's a good veteran presence. He's a guy that could be a mentor. He won a cup last year with the Lightning, but the one thing that would make me just like, it's just like, okay, I think he's just at the end of his career. He got waived by a terrible team in Ottawa. Ottawa sucks. Oh my God,
I think that might be why he didn't get picked up.
Yeah,
because he's at the end of his career, and I think he was on like his last leg with Tampa, honestly. But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's it's a weird situation because the Flyers could do a lot of things right now.
Yep.
But they could also just wait it out, and that's what I think they'll do. Because again, they've proven they can win without Couturier. They've proven they can win with this defense. They've won 6 games without your number one center.
Yeah.
You know.
I still think if they're going to like make a minor move or anything like that, it's going to be at the trade deadline. That's what I expect.
And again, it'll just be like depth.
Yeah, it's what they did last year. They got depth guys.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have had to if they didn't have the injuries.
Yeah,
of Patrick and Oscar with the cancer.
Yes.
So they don't. They might not, but I would like them to add something. If it's available. When is the trade deadline?
I think it's somewhere in April.
It's
I think it's like the end of. I think it's like the end of March or the very beginning of April, or it could be the middle of April too. I could be wrong about that as well. I know it's around the end March, middle of April, around that period. Then we also got a comment from Tales of a Failed Life saying, in every recap, I hear the term puck watching way more than I should.
Yeah, I know. I have to constantly say it every time, more than I would like to.
Then we got Philly Sports Era saying, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Alex Smith saying, Tony DeAngelo, and now I wish we had a pure goal scorer like Line, but I'm not giving Konechny or Provorov, even though I believe Myers is our number one defenseman right now. I do not want Tony DeAngelo. I think he's a cancer, and I'm going to state it as that.
Yeah, DeAngelo's a no-go. I don't even understand what Line A would have done for their game last night, but okay. Connecting your Provorov doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't understand the whole Line A thing. We're still on that.
People are going to be on that until the day it ends.
God,
people are going to be on the Line A bandwagon until like he says he's not going to stay in Columbus or whatever. Like that, his first game in Columbus wasn't good.
I actually watched some of that game. He didn't look horrible. Columbus is just bad. Like they're just bad defensively.
Yeah,
they're just not good. Like I don't think they know if they're retooling or they're rebuilding. I think they're kind of in that state of the Flyers from a few years back, where they're like, I honestly think the management probably wants them to rebuild, but I think Tortorella probably thinks that they have enough there to work with still. Yeah, especially in that division. Like I could see them squeaking in as the 4.
I feel like you can say the same thing about the Rangers too. Like if they don't know if they're retooling or rebuilding.
The Rangers are in a rebuild, but they're getting.
It's funny. It's funny because they said it was going to be a retool, not a rebuild. Though that was the thing.
And that's the thing. I think it's weird because I personally look at them as they're in a rebuild, because they literally had a whole core and it was gone of guys like Hayes, Zuccarello, Girardi, McDonough, obviously Lundqvist in net. Like all of those guys are gone. They had Stepan. Who else am I thinking of? Brad Richards, Brian Boyle, Hagelin. They had Gabrick for a few years. Obviously, these are kind of at different times. Some guys,
Nash.
Nash. Who else am I thinking of? Who was one of those guys? Oh, Moore, Dominic Moore.
Yeah. Trying to think of other people too. Kevin Shattenkirk was on there too.
Yeah, they had a bunch of guys, and like, I kind of looked at them as like a rebuilding / retool, because there was definitely were spots they had to rebuild and spots they had to retool. Like I think their defense is like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's tough because I think it's kind of a mix of both. Honestly,
I still think their defense is way too young.
Oh yeah, their whole team is too young. That's why
their whole team is way too young. It's like the situation the Devils are in.
Playing their top pair the other night.
Yeah,
they rely a lot on the young guys, and when they're not clicking, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I know Lafreniere, he did get a couple of points like a week ago, but I think he's not like tearing up the score sheet, I guess, as most people expected him to. I would say. Yeah,
I don't even know who he's playing with on the line, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I don't think he's playing with Panarin or Zuccarello. I think he's being put on the second or the third line.
You mean Zibanejad?
Yeah, not Zuccarello, Zibanejad. I had Zuccarello on the mind.
Zuccarello is on the Wild.
Yeah, Zuccarello was one of the guys they also got rid of.
Yeah.
My brain is scrambled now. And then we also got a comment from Tyler McMahon.
This again.
York was a nice piece, but I can't believe we passed up on Caulfield. Okay, we're not going to go into that situation. I feel like if the Flyers got Caulfield, I feel like they'll find a way to be mad at him too. like Flyers fans just find any way to be angry. I think that's just Philadelphia sports in general. Alex Smith saying Line A and are you talking about Johnny Gaudreau? I'm assuming when you point out Johnny. So maybe who knows? I still do believe at the end of the day Gaudreau is going to end up on the Flyers some way somehow, but not right now. Sean Fitzpatrick saying harped on two things last year in the postseason: lack of physicality and lack of sustained pressure. Right now, both problems still exist.
This is something that came out a little bit ago from Sam Carchidi. A few days ago, Flyers GM Chuck Fletcher told me he recently had COVID-19 and was sequestered in a hotel for a week and that he wanted it kept quiet. I honored his request, but it became public today, and I can verify it's true. And thankfully, Fletcher is now feeling fine.
Oh, Fletcher had COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm assuming that yeah. So this was tweeted at 12:29 today, so a little bit over a half hour ago, like 35 minutes ago.
I didn't expect that to be a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also why he got that presser on Monday. Maybe just like so he's back and everything.
The presser on Monday was actually because the Flyers PR asked the media if they wanted
to talk to Fletcher
and give AV an off day. They all agreed. That's really all it was. It wasn't anything like crazy. I thought it was going to be like Niskanen is coming out of retirement or something. But like that was literally the slimmest. Like it was nothing crazy at all.
That was funny because I know like during that morning they were like Fletcher made a joke on the radio. Oh, if Niskanen does want to come back, we have a spot for him. But he's like too happy. He's having too much fun ice fishing right now. So that would be very funny if Niskanen pulled a Fisher and came back, or like a Justin Williams and came back.
Yeah, dude. Do you understand how much that would do for this offense?
A lot.
Like what, dude? Gustafsson would be like, like what would happen with Gus if Niskanen came back? Like, would he even play?
Gus wouldn't be playing. Gus would not be playing.
I gotta read this. I harped on two things last year in the postseason: lack of physicality, lack of sustained effort. But, Sean, I don't know. I mean, physicality, maybe, but like. We have nothing to trade to bring in needed. That's not true at all. They have just about everything if they were to make a trade.
The problem is they're not going to make a trade just to make a trade.
No, there's no point. They have just about all the depth that you can think of to make a trade.
And then we got Tales of a Fair Life saying when I say lack of physicality, I'm not talking about fighting every game. It will definitely. Yes, I know that's what you mean. I'm just talking about how incredibly easy it is to muscle them off pucks to set up shop in front of the net just way too easy. Yeah, there is a missing
of your number one center too.
That also was a reason too. Like you could, and then Philly Sports Era saying, is this defensive lapse all because of Coots, or is there a bigger problem?
It's sample size if it's Couturier, but it's not all Couturier. It's like they don't play good as a team in the defensive zone, but Coots would obviously help.
Yeah, he would definitely help. I'm trying to think. If Coots does come back, and I know that's like a week and a half away at this point. If like some of those defensive issues, like even though like it'll be better with Coots, if like some of those issues are still happening, like they'll find a way to fix it. They'll find some way to fix it. And then you got Alex Smith commenting here again. You have to love Johnny Gaudreau, and I love Cam York, great puck moving defenseman. Then where did Cole Caulfield coming in this entire situation?
Yeah. Amedeo, I'm going to ask you this.
Yes.
Coots comes back. Who are you putting him on a line with? Okay, hear me out. I'm either doing G, Coots, Voracek, or G, Coots, Farabee.
Farabee?
For how good Farabee's played, you could do Konechny too.
I'm trying to think because
maybe
Farabee and JVR have had such good chemistry in the past so many games, so I don't even know if you want to break that up.
That's the thing too. I think Giroux with Patrick is looking good. And
I would think
that's why I kind of like G and Jake have played really good.
Yeah.
So yeah. I would keep G with Jake and just put Coots in the middle, like the veteran playoff line, like it was. I think that's probably their best bet. It's probably what they'll go with, to be honest.
I think you have to put Konechny with Couturier just to like, I guess, give Konechny more confidence.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't think he's playing with any confidence.
He has some, not much, but he definitely could have more.
Yeah, he definitely could have more. Then Sean Fitzpatrick saying maybe Lawton had COVID and it's affecting his decision making. Oh god. And then Sean following up saying that they're not going to trade guys like Konechny and Sanheim. That's my point. They have talent, but they're not going to part with the talent.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I'm saying. I'm like they have the talent to move it, but they're not going to.
Then Tales of a Failed Life saying Dr. Couturier could maybe fix Travis Konechny.
TK, I've talked about Coots as always being that stick it guy. Like you stick somebody with him.
Yeah.
And that's struggling.
And people play well with him. Yeah. And then Philly Sports Era saying who is having a better year, Farabee or JVR? I would say JVR. JVR overall has been the Flyers' best forward, I think.
Yeah, I'd say both of them have been fantastic.
Yes.
I wouldn't even say if anybody's playing better. I think they've both been equally good. For JVR being a veteran like that, and for Farabee being a young rookie who has had some really promising games, I think both of them are playing really good.
Yeah, they are. And we have Sean Fitzpatrick with another comment saying, I hate to bash the kid after everything he has overcome, but when is the grace period over for Oscar Lindblom? When is he going to start contribute? What is he contributing offensively?
That's the thing. I mean, you can't really say many negative things about Oscar, but like I've kind of thought that too to myself is like, how long is it going to take him to get back to that physical form? I think he's still off that a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
So
I think so.
And again, I don't want to bash the kid because he's an unbelievable player, and obviously the story is fantastic. But I think it's tough, to harp on him early in the year when he's coming off of everything and things like that. So I'm still gonna give Oscar time. I mean, he doesn't play power play or anything, so that is kind of is he on the second unit?
I think.
Because the second unit it changes every game. Like
I think he gets put off and on of it with the second unit.
He's been on it a couple times, but nothing crazy.
And now we also got another comment from Alex Smith saying JVR has an extra step this year. He's just moving. Yeah, JVR is doing Drew. Drew is also
two guys that are just they look quicker.
Yeah, JVR is like doing the little things right. Like if he's forcing turnovers, and that's what's leading to the goals.
It led to 2 goals last night. Led to the forecheck goal, and it led to the. Or no, not led to 2 goals. Led to the 1 goal, and it led to that Goss's pair chance in the first period. Probably their best chance of that period, the one timer.
And everything that he did on Sunday against the Islanders, a lot of those forced turnovers that line did, it forced Farabee to have the hat trick.
That second goal was set up by JVR because he could have made a couple other plays.
Yes,
he could have either went behind the net. He just fed it right back to Farabee and he sniped it. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's just little things like that JVR is doing really well.
Yeah. And then Sean saying he'd say the same thing about Nolan Patrick. We need a lot more from him, a lot more.
Yeah. It seems like at times with Patrick that it looks like he can fly, and other times it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah.
I think it's just because he's young and he doesn't have he's not like mature enough. I shouldn't really say, I guess mature enough to play, the top line minutes like that. And again, it's tough with the injury to Coots because he'd be playing third line right now, and that's perfect for him.
Yeah, and the one thing with Patrick, I still think he's still incredibly young, and I still think there's so much untapped potential in Couturier. Because if you look back at one of the overtime games against the Islanders, one of those moves where he just flew into the zone. I understand it was 3-on-3. There's so much space in the world, but what he was able to do, fly into the zone, set up his time to rip one that almost went into the net.
Uh-huh.
Like Patrick has the ability to do that.
In that next game, in that overtime, he couldn't even handle the puck.
Yeah.
It's weird because it seems like at times he's a little off like that, but again, I think Patrick is I think it's just him being young too, Yeah.
Then we have Ed Maher, Chris's father, saying when Coots comes back, make sure the C is sewn on his jersey. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
I could definitely sense Ed is a G hater, and I don't understand that.
It's not that he hates Giroux. It's just he tells me one thing, and then when I say that he said it, he never said it. You know what I mean?
We got physical proof right here, though. Proof.
He told me the other day that, or not the other day, it was maybe a couple weeks ago, that they shouldn't re-sign Giroux. I'm like, are you nuts?
What?
I'm like,
what? What? Like, okay. Moving on. Abe Blink saying the Flyers made me pull my hair out last night. What a horrible, undisciplined way to end the game. Yep, that type of way was very hair pulling out. And then Sean saying, so when are we sensing Prosser back in the lineup tomorrow?
I would like it, to be honest. I don't mind it. My guess is Hag. My guess is probably the same lineup.
Same
And
lineup?
I don't see any reason why they should change it because they play good. They just blew it.
Yeah. So we're getting very close to the end of this episode, but I want to bring up like one little last detail before we end it off. So the thing going on with COVID right now in the NHL, the Devils, they have over 14 players on protocol list. The Buffalo Sabres, their games are postponed through the 9th. And now the Wild, they have a couple of their players on COVID. I think they have 6 on COVID protocol, and their games are postponed now through I think through the next week. So yeah, some teams are getting hit hard. They're getting hit really hard. And I wonder too, with the Devils, since their situation is just flat out horrible at this point, they have 14 players, like I said. How long do you think that's going to be until they're ready to play games? Because the Flyers, I think, play them after the Capitals. Am I right? I think they play them at home.
Yeah, the 11th.
I think it's like a Thursday and a Saturday they play the Devils.
I think no, Tuesday, Thursday. I think it is again. Or no, it is a Thursday, Saturday. You're right. Yeah,
because I know they play the Caps on Sunday. Yeah, they play the Caps Sunday, Tuesday, and then the Devils on
Thursday, Saturday. Yeah.
Yes. Do you think it's going to last into that long to where maybe those 2 games get postponed?
Well, it's 14 players. Some probably were put in later, or were all of them put in at one time, or was it like some
sure.
got put in at different times?
I
think
think
some got put
in
at different times. They might have enough guys.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a bad situation with the league because they should have never played those afternoon games. And the problem they were saying on national TV last night was that when you play an earlier game, your result doesn't come back until the next morning.
Yeah.
It takes 24 hours. So if you play an earlier game, there's more of a chance that you could have been,
exposed.
Yeah, exposed to to COVID and everything. It's not a good situation. And listen, we knew it was going to happen. It's just the thing is controlling it, and it doesn't seem like it's. But it's weird. Like some teams get hit with it heavy, and some teams I don't even think have had a single problem. Like there's teams that got fans in the stands.
Yeah, Dallas got hit with it hard at the beginning of the season, but ever since then they've been fine. The Wild, they got hit with. They're getting hit right now.
That's the thing. Once you get it, you have antibodies for a good amount of time. I mean, they don't last forever, but they're there a good amount of time.
I think right now the teams that have been hit the most are the Devils and the Dallas Stars. Like the Dallas at the beginning of the season, and now the Devils.
Well, Vegas hasn't played either.
Oh, Vegas hasn't played either?
Vegas, I think, has only played like 5 games.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know there are some teams that have played very minimal games too. I did notice that like on the standings as well.
It's been a while since I've seen Vegas play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Their last game was January 26th.
Oh, jeez. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's February 4th.
Oof.
Had a couple games postponed. They played tomorrow against the Kings, and then Sunday against the Kings again. But yeah, they've only played 6 games. Sorry, 7. They like the Flames have played 9 games. When the Canucks have played 13. Tampa's played 8. Florida's played 6. Florida's gotten killed with it too.
Oh yeah, Florida's gotten killed as well.
Some teams in that division played 11. Columbus, Chicago, and the Red Wings. Nashville's played 9. Pretty much everybody in the East is right around the same.
Yeah.
Either 10, 11, or 9. Flyers have played the most with 11. And that's really pretty much it. I mean, the least amount of games for a team is Florida with 6 so far, but it's either 6 to the range of 13 is pretty much the average.
Oh, jeez. Well, I think what we said, like even going into the beginning of the season, like there's going to be these, I guess, scares. You're going to deal with that. Like the NBA has been dealing with some of that stuff. The NFL definitely deal with some of that stuff. That's what you have when you don't play in a bubble. Yeah. So you're definitely going to deal with situations like that. But the NHL, I think what's been beneficial is that they're only playing within divisional games. So if something does spread, it doesn't spread throughout the entire league. It only spreads, I guess, within that certain region. So I think that's something that's positive. So there's something to look into. And I'm going to leave the podcast off on this comment. Put Dwight Howard on the fence. I'm going to leave the podcast off right there. So I think we're going to wrap it up. So like I said, for people that either tuned into this late or just haven't tuned in at all, you always find us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast at. And also one thing that's interesting as well, I'm not sure if they put it on the Apple Pod or the Spotify, but if you see us on Anchor, you will be able to contribute to the podcast if you want to donate. If you want to just like donate like monthly or just like $1, $5, you can do that too. Anchor actually lets us people actually donate to the podcast, and just like the money that comes to us, we'll be able to utilize towards the podcast and just make it better for everyone enjoying it right here. So that's something that's really fun for us if you want to contribute to that, everyone. So definitely go check that out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Painted Lines. Check out everything they do. Look at their Twitter page, their first pinned tweet. You'll see the link to the public Discord server. You get to talk with all of us about the frustrating Flyers loss. You can talk Sixers. You can talk everything. Don't forget to follow the Painted Lines everywhere. Follow Flyers Fan Media 93 for Chris, and follow him on Twitter at _Chris Maher. You can subscribe to my YouTube page at TTP Sports, and also follow me on Twitter at Amedeo Grassia 98. Go follow the Flyer Up Podcast everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Flyer Up Podcast. And yeah, it's the Flyers. Let's see if they can bounce back tomorrow against Boston, because they definitely need to. So any last remarks, Chris, before we end off the live stream?
Just win tomorrow, please. Please.
For all of our sanity.
Yeah.
For all of our sanity. So it's going to wrap it up. I'm your host, Amedeo Grassia. He is Chris Maher, and we will see you next time. Everyone have a good day, and hopefully let's go Flyers.